So, yesterday was Human Trafficking Awareness Day, and it was interesting to see a lot of people were talking about human trafficking. You know, people, it's easy to cut and paste a post and some statistical information about how bad human trafficking is, which it is, and I'm glad that people are, more aware of how bad it is. There's been a group of us that have been talking about it for about 4 years now. And not just human trafficking in a broad sense, but very specific about who is trafficking humans and how and why. Because there's more than one reason to traffic humans. I think everyone believes it's just, the majority of the world probably believes that humans are trafficked for sex. And that's true. But they're also trafficked for their blood and for their flesh and for their organs. And for mind control purposes. If you really care about human trafficking, you gotta actually talk about the customers. You gotta get real. You can't just post statistics about how many kids are trafficked and feel like you did your job. And no one's expecting you to go out and actually physically rescue children. But if you want to be serious about, and not just virtue signaling, if you want to be serious about caring about human trafficking, then you have to talk about the elephant that's in the room. The one thing that nobody really actually wants to post about. The one thing that nobody actually really wants to know for sure if it's true. Why? Why do you guys all avoid that? Why do you guys all avoid the elephant in the room? Us QAnon, crazy conspiracy, tinfoil hat wearing freak shows have been putting ourselves out there, throwing it down, telling it like it is, and none of you touched my posts for years. For years, it was only a handful of people that are actually curious about the things I was saying about human trafficking and elite pedophile rings and Hollywood and politicians and naming names and adrenochrome and hunting children on Epstein Island. Nobody wanted to touch that stuff, and nobody touched it for years. It just sat there. There was a few people, and I know exactly who you are, who always were curious, who asked me questions and who wanted to know more. But the rest of you just walked right over it. But all of a sudden, everybody wants to care about human trafficking. Everybody's concerned about how bad this is. But you're still not talking about why it's so bad. You're still not talking about the truth. The real, ugly, dark truth about human trafficking. And that ugly, dark truth is the very customers. The very procurers. The people that consume and indulge in children are people you watch on TV every single day. You watch their movies, you listen to their music, you watch their TV shows, you laugh at their jokes, you admire them, you pay to go see them, you vote for them. And that's what you guys don't want to talk about. That's where you guys are not brave, because you don't want to know the truth about that. You want to go look at Rainn Wilson's tweets? Yeah, remember Dwight Schrute? Yeah. You serious about ending human trafficking? Okay, let's talk about Hollywood. Let's talk about the club, the Red Shoe Club. Let's talk about how all those people in Hollywood that you love and admire, they're the ones having sex with children. They're the ones drinking the blood of children after they've tortured them. But you guys don't want to talk about that. No, you want to cover your ears when I tell you your precious Dwight Schrute from The Office is a disgusting pedophile, and I try to show you his tweets. Look, 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 he's a disgust. No, 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 I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I love The Office. Do not ruin it for me. I love The Office. You want to know about Tom Hanks? Yeah. Look up Sarah Ruth Ashcraft. She posted on Twitter a picture of herself at 10 years old, and her caption read, "This is how old I was when my father sold me to Tom Hanks. I wonder how much he paid for me." Sarah is on Twitter actively talking about where she came from. Hollywood sex slave world. We're talking Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey is like one of their head people. She's one of the head people that procures children. She's like, and Ellen DeGeneres apparently was like, trying to work her way up to be as beautiful, as wonderful and powerful as Ellen DeGeneres. Take a look at Chrissy Teigen. Take a look at John Legend. Take a look at that disgusting woman's tweets. You take a look at that, and you start to freaking be serious and real about human trafficking, because it's not Joe Schmo with the gross van down the way that's procuring children. No, children are expensive to buy. Humans are expensive to buy. But there's a lot of children being sold, because guess what? There's a lot of millionaires and billionaires, and they're all on your TV, and they're your news anchors, and they're the music that you listen to. And if you listen with open ears and open eyes, they tell you in their movies what they do. They tell you in their song lyrics what they do. They have music videos with all kinds of symbolism. All kinds, if you're just a little bit woke. If you're just a little bit woke to the way they speak and how they communicate with each other, and they laugh about the fact that none of us have any idea that the very people we admire and consume and pay are the ones that are killing children and doing the most disgusting, despicable things that you could ever imagine. So disturbing that I venture to say that they're not even human. Because when they're doing those things, they have demons inside of them. You think Jim Carrey's sober when he goes on a talk show? No, his blood is full of adrenochrome. Adrenochrome is real, you guys. And that's part of the trafficking of humans for adrenochrome. They don't just use them for sex. They extract their blood after they've tortured them, and so that their blood is full of adrenaline, and then they drain their bodies and they die in the process. And that is the hottest drug out there. And apparently it's a fountain of youth. It's the fountain of youth. Not only does it get you higher than anything you could ever imagine, cocaine times 100, it keeps you young too. Keeps you young. They also need children to harvest their organs. So there's a lot of that going on too. And if you're at a conspiracy tinfoil hat wearing QAnoner like me, you know how they do this. You know, they use a program called the Arts and Embassies program, where they have these international deals with politicians that they'll trade art, even living art, and they don't have to go through the normal inspections, and their cargo can be refrigerated, and it won't go, because it's just a trade. It's an Arts and Embassies program. It's just art. It's just living art. That's all it is. So there's special protections. They don't have to go through normal inspections because they have these deals with other countries. Okay? And this is all done through the power of politicians that are also involved in cannibalism and drinking of the adrenalized blood of children and having sex with children. And they did all these things on Epstein Island. So they control the ports. So Long Beach Port was totally controlled by the deep state. That place was the biggest hub for human trafficking in the world, I believe. It's not anymore. It's not anymore. But you guys, this goes way deeper than anyone wants to believe or imagine. Mother Teresa was trafficking children the entire time. Her whole story is one big effing lie. She was trafficking children. Look it up, guys. Look it up. What are some other shockers for you? Well, this all really broke when Hillary Clinton's emails were dumped on WikiLeaks. That's when all these elite pedophile rings, that's when researchers started to put this all together and realize that this world is run on pedophilia and human trafficking. The royals of every country, the Saudi Arabian royals, the United Kingdom royals, the royals in Netherlands, they all indulge in these delicacies. The human being is a baby, especially black babies. Those are one of the hottest commodities. That's why the Clinton Foundation was in Haiti. That's why there are no coincidences. That's why Oprah Winfrey has her little girls' school in Africa. Go look up John of God. If you're serious about fighting human trafficking, if you really care, look up John of God and Oprah Winfrey and learn about John of God. You guys, the Dalai Lama's bad. I'm not kidding. This stuff goes deeper than you ever wanted to imagine. And that's why I'm not super impressed when you post a post about human trafficking, because it's like yada, 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 yada. But what do you really know about human trafficking? What do you really know? Do you know that there are children in cages right now? There are children in cages. They are caged like animals. There's all kinds of eyewitness stories about walking into rooms full of children in cages. And you can always tell. This was a girl, I listened to an interview on Dr. Phil. She was trafficked. Well, she was actually born into it, because that's a whole nother part of this. There's a bunch of unregistered babies that they can traffic, and children, because they have breeders. There are people that go out there and they kidnap women of childbearing age to breed for them a bunch of babies that are unregistered, and nobody will ever even know they exist. So this poor woman was born into this family, and she was given to the man who owned her. She said, look this up on Dr. Phil. Crazy story, but crazy true. And she talks about how there was a man that owned her, and she was rented out, starting as young as a baby. She always thought that babies sat on men's laps. Anyways, I don't even want to explain that, what she said. Just watch that interview. Everything she says checks out with everything I've researched. And I guess that's what bugs me more than anything, is that it's easy to just talk about human trafficking without actually understanding who the customers are. They're your CEOs of companies. They're the politicians in every country. They're the royals. They're your musicians. They're people you watch on the big screen every single day. They're talk show hosts. Those are the people that are indulging in children. And that's the ugly, dark secret that nobody wants to talk about, and that nobody's brave enough to say. But I am. I'm brave enough to say that Tom Hanks is a pedophile, that Oprah Winfrey, that Ellen DeGeneres, that Jimmy Kimmel, that freaking, what's his name? Jim Carrey is one of their high priest witches in Hollywood. He's like one of the highest up guys, and you can just see him. He's full of demons. That guy's full of demons. You can see it. But the world's about to change, because this is all coming out. I've been saying it's been coming out for a lot of years, and I've been laughed at, and I've been ignored, and I've been unfriended, called crazy, Looney Tunes. I've been called everything you can imagine. Because I've been saying all these things were true. And I still stand by them. And my other bone to pick is all you human trafficking awareness people. Do you acknowledge that Donald J. Trump is playing a huge role in all this coming down? That's what you need to do, and that's what you need to understand. You need to take a look at the very first You take a look at the very first executive order that he signed when he came into office. It was about human trafficking. The Trump administration is on this, you guys. They've been on this before Trump was even the president. There were white hats that have been watching this and learning and studying and tracking what's been going on. And they've been devising a plan all this time to stop this disgusting part of humanity. And they've been risking their lives. They've been sacrificing so much. Donald Trump has had so many attempts on his life. His children have had attempts on their life, his grandchildren. Because they're exposing the biggest secret the world has ever seen. The scourge of the earth. He always talks about it as being the scourge of the earth. Because it is. It's the darkest secret that's right in front of us. If you know what to look for, it's been in front of us all along. The movie Monsters, Inc., they tell you right there. They spell it out. They kidnap and scare children so they can extract their energy. If you're serious about fighting human trafficking, if you're serious about caring about kids, then you gotta give up Disneyland. You've gotta give up Disney. The Disney cruise lines go to Epstein Island. Disneyland's involved. Why did Bob Iger step down? I didn't know I was going to get emotional. Probably won't post this. I'm more upset that people hate on Trump so much. Or just go, he's kind of a creep. Maybe he is a good president, but he's kind of a creep. He's a womanizer. No, he's not. You don't know who he is. There are some of us that do understand who he is. He's been chosen for this time to lead this fight. No other man could have done what he's doing. He is a good man. He has a huge heart. He's not a politician. He's more human than most human beings. He loves people. He loves the people. He loves we, the people. He loves everyday Joe Schmoes. He doesn't care about them. He sees them for what they are. Someday you'll understand what I'm talking about. If you have no idea why I feel emotion about Trump. It's just... I can see plainly what's happening. I think most people are seeing it. The division between good and evil is becoming more and more clear. It's becoming more and more sharp. It's hard to be bold. It's hard to say these things. Anyway, I just want people to be real. I just want people to be real and acknowledge look. You gotta look and see who the real enemy is. And the enemy is right in front of you. The enemy is the people that you thought you could trust. The enemy is people that you voted for. Don't be in denial when that truth comes out. Don't live in denial. Face that. It's an ugly truth because you worshipped that person. You worship that person. But you don't live in denial when the evidence is before you. You were wrong. You were wrong to worship those things. You were wrong. And you were wrong to hate President Trump.